I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull no punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Brandy and I were just talking backstage. We're tired.
Yeah, we're a little tired.
This has been one of those days, and then the weather, with storms coming in and stuff, that kind of, I don't know, it just makes
It
me
makes
tired.
me want to sleep. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, me too. So how's your week been?
It has been okay. I actually have tomorrow off. I'm really excited. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. They just told us today, so maybe I'll do some housework.
There you go. That's a nice surprise.
Miracles happen, don't they?
Well, that's what I did tonight. So, yeah, I've been busy myself tonight. Maybe that's why I'm tired. So, anyway, guys, Tom Cardos was going to be our guest, and unfortunately, he had a pet emergency.
Yes.
So, keep his dog in your prayers. It was poop and blood, so he was on his way to the emergency vet. So please keep his dog and his family in your prayers. And we're definitely going to reschedule with Tom because he was looking forward to it, as were we. So we'll definitely reschedule. So anyway, you want to let everybody know, Brandy, about the shows next week?
Oh, absolutely. On Monday night, you have Texas Front Porch at 6:30 p.m. Central. Catch us. Me and Tex, of course. You never know what's going to happen there. Could be anything. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, we have Van Buren Variety. 8 p.m., we have Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, we have Jason McLean Questions Everything. And on Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, we have brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and our friend Krista right here. They had a really good guest on. We're going to talk about that. So just hang in there. On Thursday night, of course, you can catch us Blondes and the Booze at 8 p.m. Central. And on Friday at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch more of us with Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Yep. Woohoo.
Woo!
We do have, however, we have our buddy and our birthday guy, Tex, and I'm going to go ahead and bring Tex up. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. No, we don't sing. We're just like, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Not singers. How are you, Tex?
Good. You caught me in the middle of taking a dip of snuff.
That's okay. I'm sorry. I should have paid attention better.
Well, get it in there.
My bad.
I'm like, get it in there. Wash the teeth off.
My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You good. Hey,
he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
It's better than being caught with my britches down, so I'm good.
That's true. That's true.
Of course, if I'm on air and I get caught with my britches down, there's something wrong with the show.
Yeah. That would not be cool. Not be cool at all. Just want to tell everybody hello out there. We have all kinds of people, and my computer constantly refreshes. So I know I will miss some of you, but I do see the comments, and thank each and every one of you guys for being here. We definitely appreciate each and every one of you for sure. So anyway, how was your birthday today?
Man, it was good. I didn't do nothing.
There you go.
I mean, it was. Of course, I got off work at 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, and I come home and just crawled in bed, and that's pretty much what I did today.
Yeah. Well, we have
Yeah.
another surprise.
That's my kind of birthday. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me nothing. Leave me alone. That's my birthday.
Right. Right.
I got, of course, we had homemade nachos for supper tonight. That
That
was my
sounds
birthday
good.
dinner.
Ooh, that sounds
And
great.
Yeah.
had something I've never had for my birthday before. I was surprised with an Oreo ice cream birthday ice cream cake.
Yum.
Oh, that makes me so jealous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good. It was good.
Sounds like heaven.
Pretty
Right
damn
next
close.
to it. There you go. Well, good deal. You had a good birthday. So what, you're 23?
I am 25 and a half.
Oh, I have this off a couple years.
Yeah, for the second time.
There you go.
I can't hear you guys. I got to come back. I got to fix something.
Okay.
Okay.
BMR will be back.
It's the night for crazy stuff again. I was telling Chris we've got these storms rolling through Missouri right now, and they're falling just right below her, but they're smacking me over here. I'm just like, great.
we had them roll through here earlier.
Yeah.
Today, they had a couple of tornadoes touch down. We had some
wow.
Baseball size hail in different places, and
wow.
I could have tied a boat up to my back porch today. I mean, it was
wow.
Yeah, it was. We got a lot of rain out of it.
That's a lot of rain. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get any damage around here, so we're good to go. And
wow.
It was just about to hit. It was just. Thank you, Leticia. Yeah, I see all birthday wishes, man. I appreciate it.
Put them all up. Yeah, it's going through.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah, I appreciate all that, y'all.
I have a special birthday wish for you, Tex.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Happy birthday, Big Texas. He's got some nitty big features because he needs them to fight those creatures. Happy birthday, Texie.
Thank you, Rob.
That's awesome.
That's one you'll never forget, I'm sure.
Yeah. It is there. It's out there forever now. He can't take it back.
Right?
It's on video.
Yeah, it's forever in digital. You're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get a singing contract. I doubt it, though.
Well,
Rob's just now waiting on his record deal. So
yeah, I'll just write some jingles.
Yeah, I'm not much of a singer. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I suck at it.
I'm alone in the car singer.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's it.
Or the shower.
Yeah, that's
no.
it.
I never sang in the shower though.
I don't either. I don't sing in the shower. I sing in my car.
Well, you know what they say.
When I'm in the shower, I listen to shows. Seriously, I have them playing, while I'm in the shower. So I don't even listen to music in the shower. So, yeah.
Well, you know what they say? Sing like nobody can hear you, dance like nobody can see you, and drive it like you stole it.
Yeah, and we kind of did that down in Texas, right? When we did that, yeah,
we did.
Wow.
You girls should have been there. It was quite. We didn't realize we were broadcasting the entire bar too. They had like 20 TVs going.
Oh wow!
And they were recording. Yeah, boy.
Was there any alcohol involved in that?
None
We
at
can
all.
neither confirm nor deny that there may have been a few drinks involved at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandy, are you having weird stuff happen?
Not anymore. The storm has come in and I'm hearing things hit the house. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Gotcha. Before we went live, Brandy had I think she's got a new paranormal visitor. I think actually she has a hitchhiker that
I do.
right home from her with her. And she was having issues right before we went live. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. It was like, I don't know if anybody had heard the story, or if you missed the story. I talked about it twice, I think, on different shows. About a week and a half ago, I was driving to work at 4:30 in the morning. There's nobody out there. The streets are deserted. There's no restaurants around. I come up around this corner and then I see this black figure coming up to the road as if they were going to cross it. I look back at the road. I look back at this black figure and it was completely gone and there was nowhere for it to go. So I continued to drive, but a split second after I started to keep driving, I smelled like a really hot oil smell, like cooking oil, like you're getting ready to burn the oil, like it's too hot. It smelled like that for about a half mile in my car. So then Krista and I went to Michigan. And then when I came back home that very night, I laid down on my bed and I was just getting comfortable and my body started to relax. And then I heard a male voice in my ear call my name as if it were talking to me, not in my head. It was right in my ear and talking to me. Now, nothing has happened since. And I think we just talked about this on Tuesday. And I said, nothing else has happened. And then tonight I'm sitting here and I'm talking to Krista. And next thing, the light in my bedroom, I can see it. And it blinked 3 times. It's on, off, on, off, on, off. And then it was nothing. So then as soon as I got up to look at it, my whole phone went down. Just everything went.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what's going. I think I have a little problem that Krista's going to have to, tell me about and help me through this one, because we're in here, we're discussing it, and we're like, you don't mess with electronics in my house. You don't mess with my stuff. You're not even supposed to be in my room. My room is off limits.
Right.
And this is the way it is. So, I mean, we're going through this, but then I'm like, well, I've got my sage. And so that is definitely on my list for tomorrow. Definitely.
I like how you talk to these things. Like, no, get out of here. You just,
I told her, I said,
just like they're hanging out in your house. Hey, get out of here. Go do something else. I'm busy.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not your spot. This is my spot. This is my area.
Mm-hmm.
You go, you do something else. Don't bother anybody in this house, period. Don't bother nobody. Just move along.
Real quick. I've got a 10-year-old standing here. She wants her 5 seconds of fame. Say hello.
Hi, baby.
Hey. Hello.
Hi, Olivia.
Very nice.
Yeah, she but I was telling Brandy, because it was messing with her phone. She would log on and then she would just go blank. Usually, she kind of whirls out, when she's trying to get service, and it just wasn't.
Nope, it was just taking it right out. And Daryl said it was the beast from the LBL coming to get me because I didn't go last weekend.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's because that's the latest place that you went, right? That's the last place you went was LBL.
Yeah,
it was, but I don't think it's the LBL. I honestly think that this, because they can hitchhike with you anywhere. You don't have to be standing next to them and then they just jump on. No, you can. Yeah. Like I said, I was driving, and all this weird thing happened, and it was crazy to get that smell. And it's so early in the morning. There's no restaurants there that would be, that you could smell something cooking.
Right.
It was just strange that this kind of went. I just turned the corner. There it was. Then it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, I think I got some. And they can feel that you're open to them. They know you're open to them. So they're just kind of like, well, hey, she sees me. Hey. So I think.
War Criminal 7 says he's going back to the LBL Saturday. I just gotta give him a shout out He and I had an extensive talk Saturday night about the LBL. So you remember what I told you, War?
She'll get you, I promise.
Yeah. So
But yeah, it's very strange what's happening.
yeah.
And for this to be happening now, and then after Chris and I were going through this as we're talking, um, telling it don't belong here, blah blah blah. Well, then all of a sudden, my phone had the best signal I've ever had in this room.
Well, she did. She told it, get out of here, leave my phone, leave my lights alone.
Right.
And then it just kind of.
And then all of a sudden, I got a good signal. Everything's great. I went, well, huh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the gremlins that's been bothering you the last few months.
I thought I whipped them the last time, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. It's you need to do something.
Right.
Definitely
Right.
need to do some cleansing for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Today, I got to tell you, Rob's guest that he had on today was wonderful. That was a great show today, Rob.
Yeah, thanks. It was William Lunsford. He true boots on the ground. Did you hear that? He's out 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Every day in the woods looking for these things. And you know what? Again, I always say we have a lot of great guests, and we do. They're all very good.
Oh, yeah.
But this guy, I love the guys that really get down and dirty every day out there. And I got nothing but respect for that guy. And he actually did give us some good pictures, which I normally don't post a lot of pictures when I do a show because I'm like, but you can definitely see something going on with him. The footprints. Oh, and then he sent me 2 more after the show, which are phenomenal. Which I'm like, dude, you should have sent them to me during the show. He goes, yeah, man, I got 50 of them on my phone, and I got to show them to you guys off air. These footprints, very distinct.
Yeah.
It literally dwarfs his foot. I mean, it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Very distinct.
Well, and even the first picture you put up could possibly be, which I thought was interesting, a Gugway print.
Yeah.
You could see like the claws in the prints. And what did he say? It was 18 inches long?
Yeah, 18 and 22. And then the last picture of the one Bigfoot in the woods was 10 and a half feet tall. And you could if you go back and watch it, the face was extremely distinctive.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't where, whatever, or it was, right. And it wasn't like pixelated where, you know how sometimes when you zoom in with a phone, it makes things look weird. This was like it matched the background perfectly. You could tell it wasn't, it looked good. I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you guys missed that show today, it's worth going back to watch for sure.
There was a question that just passed, and maybe Tex, you can answer this for us. Oh, you got it? All right.
That one, I'd be kind, asked, I don't understand what a Gugway is.
Well, a lot of people say a Gugway is like a subspecies of Bigfoot or another subspecies of Bigfoot or whatever. But I'm not too sure if there's something altogether different.
Yep.
But they're a-holes. That's what they are.
Yeah, they're ferocious. They were also coined the nickname the face eater, right, Tex?
Yeah, the face eaters, the cannibals, and everything, because they are the ones that are known to be really, really waspy, and they don't like humans, and so that's basically
super
what
aggressive and yeah.
There's some kind of like I said, most people, they look kind of like a baboon, and a lot of people say that the Beast of Seven Shoots is a Gugway. Some people say that's a dogman. Some people say it's a swamp ape. Who knows? But I've never personally seen one, and to my knowledge, I've never dealt with one.
Yeah. Nor would I want to.
Right now I know the Duke has a lot of knowledge on these things, and we may have to get him. We may have to get him over here one of these days, and we'll talk about the Gugway. But they, like I said, they're just really waspy critters. They're in a constant bad mood, and
Yeah,
they'll
they
chew
will
on you.
definitely hurt you.
Yeah, they're just bad. Yeah.
But we've got a new show coming up.
Yeah, we were going to bring this up because we were talking about it before you showed up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Why don't you
So
tell
why don't you?
everybody about it, Tex?
Hell yeah.
it is going to be something completely different that we've never done. I did a few episodes um, about because I the whole serial killer and not just serial killers, but the whole psychopathy, sociopath, that mindset fascinates me because there's something going on there, and I think it's a couple of different things. There's a debate on if it's, if you're born that way, if you're made that way, and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's a combination of factors. But me and Danielle D, oh, God, boy, screwed that one up. Danielle Diva from Spaced Out Radio are going to be hosting this show. And every episode, we're going to take a deep dive into one of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called, we're calling it Infamous Minds. And so it's not going to be just serial killers. We're looking at, Pol Pot and Hitler and Jim Jones and David Koresh and of course, Ted Bundy and Albert Fish and just a whole lot of different people out there that seem to have they do have this, to
Mm-hmm.
one degree or another, and it never ends well.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a deep dive on these people on every episode, and our first episode is going to be out April 1st, and it's going to be on. We're starting out on a classic. We're going to do Jack the Ripper.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things that I've learned over just over the past week or two, and about him and about his true identity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never been proven. His identity's never been proven.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found out that, as far as I'm concerned, there used to be a theory out there of who he was that I held on to, but what I found out here the last week or two has changed my mind. There's a lot of freaking circumstantial evidence, and it just the math adds up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to tie into another show. So we're really excited about it. It's going to be pre-recorded, and we're going to release it every Saturday, so y'all will have something to see every Saturday.
Do you know what time every Saturday?
I don't know yet. Probably about 2:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, that people can catch it in the afternoons. They can catch it at night. But it's not going to be a live show. We may on special occasions do a live show every once in a while. We will be having a special guest every once in a while, but it's not going to be a guest-driven show. The guests that we're going to have on every once in a while will be people that have insight to this behavior, this mindset. Homicide detectives,
right.
Head, shrinks and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a very good friend of mine to come on, and he's a forensic interviewer. And I want to bring him on and have him break down an interview with one of these people.
Yeah.
So another thing that we're trying to do is it's not just because of this, and we're trying to put it out there so it's an educational thing also, because not all psychopaths are killers,
Right.
and hopefully we can what we can do is we can put this stuff out there, and it will help you spot these people in your everyday life because they are there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Well, Texas sounds like I could come on and be a forensic examiner for you. As you well know, I picked out a killer way back when I was growing up through grade school and high school. I said, this guy's a bad dude. And sure enough, raped and killed his grandmother at the age of 23.
Yep.
And I knew he was bad from 5 years old, 13 years old, 18 years old, then 28 years old. He did the deed.
You know,
And I knew it. God, it was
I was
crazy.
just going to say, you know, there are some people I just think that could possibly do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you meet these people every day and you're just like, there's something not right about you.
Mm-hmm. No,
you
that's
know,
true.
and
Yeah.
that is strange. Now, was this story well known, Rob?
Known to Michigan. I mean, you know, known to my circle because he grew up right, 5 blocks from me.
Yeah.
Played with him.
Wow.
Started playing with the kid in the neighborhood. And as soon as I met him, 5, 6, 7, bad news. I just thought, as a kid, I thought, man, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
And I pretty much the same throughout my life. I like pretty much anybody. I talked to someone at the gas station. I mean, but my funny thing, like I told all you guys before, I said it many times, I have a knacky ability to, when I meet someone under 2 minutes, I can sum you up what your intentions are, if you're good, you're bad. I mean, it's not 100%, but I'm pretty good with that. I've always been that way. And as a kid, I thought there was something strange about him. Then in high school, very strange. I remember he was in our gym class, and he was just a peculiar guy, but peculiar in a sense that not trusting, didn't want to be around him. In fact, really, none of the kids did. And I said, man, he's not going to grow up to be anything. But I didn't think that it was going to be the extent of what happened, right?
Right.
I just figured to be in and out of jail without a job and one of these unfortunate, transients, probably pop from state to state, city to city. But no, he was right here, and boy, when I heard that, I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. You know, I did foster care for a long time. You know, we had kids come and go in and out of the house, and we had one boy that he honestly, he scares me. He scared me. He was only, I think he was 11 when I had him, but he was doing things that showed like signs of serial killer type. Not saying that he is, so don't anybody bash me for this, but he was I'm a huge animal lover. My whole family is, and I have no problems. I have no problems with hunting, but they're people eat them, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with hunting. Well, this kid, he was like killing frogs and stuff, and I was like, we don't do that. We only kill what we eat, So are you wanting frog legs for dinner, type thing, and he had a lot of weird characteristics, and he ended up killing my daughter's kitten. And I mean, just, I finally had to ask for him to be removed from my house because I didn't trust him around the other kids, and that's a shame because the kid had such a rough life, parents on drugs. He dealt with renal cancer and at 5 years old, so I mean, it was just sad, truly sad.
That is sad, especially with the animals thing. And, and talking about this kid really briefly, I pretty much told y'all that we got a creek that runs through our neighborhood. It's like 8-9 miles. So where I live, the creek runs through a lot of backyards and a lot of open fields and stuff like that. And right around 11, 12 years old. And there was this one cool part of the creek where we had our BMX bikes and we made a track that we raced on and jumped hills and stuff like that. And, so one night there's about 3-4 of us guys and we're out riding our bikes, racing. And then we get through this stretch where the path opened up, and then along the tree line, we all stop and we take a look in the tree. And I kid you not. And if you love animals, you might not want to hear this, but hey, it's after 9 o'clock, but 3 skinned cats were strung up by their necks. They were skinned and there was a noose around their neck and they hung there. And they looked kind of be fresh. So, but that was so, I mean, all us guys, man, we were little guys, both 11, 12, I think it was. And we were just like in shock. we all ran home, told our parents, and you know what, you guys? And I found this out a couple of years later. You know the kid that I told you about that I summed up right away as being evil? His backyard was like 40, 50 feet from there. And not saying he did it, but put two and
Right.
two together. Maybe it was him, right?
Right. Right.
Odds are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
I don't know if y'all remember. I think it was last year, late last year. Um, my neighbor had those cats that were dismembered thrown over
Mm.
in his backyard, and his wife did some digging, and there was 42 similar incidents across Tarrant County.
Wow.
So there's obviously a budding serial killer or a budding psychopath anyway,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, in this area, and that's spooky. That's spooky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. One of the well, the very last demonic case I did was back in 2018, I think. And the gal that we helped, she was the lone survivor of the BTK killer out of Wichita, Kansas. So
Oh my.
just yeah, it's crazy
Well,
stuff.
Anita Collier, narrowly is. I mean, they found there's a serial killer in their area, and one of his victims was found in their barn.
Oh my goodness.
And she had the guy. She was out front one time, and the guy actually pulled over and talked to her,
Wow.
and was I tried to coax her and all that kind of stuff. So she narrowly missed pretty much being a victim of
Wow.
a serial killer. My mother, my family's from Texarkana, and my mother, she worked in an old-fashioned soda shop,
Hmm.
in the, that was in a pharmacy, in a drugstore. She served sodas and everything. And her little best friend, when they were in high school, um, and some of you may remember the town that dreaded sundown. Well, that's what that's about. That serial killer that haunted, that worked that area up in Texarkana. Her best friend was one of his victims.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Man,
There's
I think I go ahead. Who was that? Was that Chris or Brandy
I was just
talking?
going to say, there's just some, really not right people out in the world. Scary people.
Yeah, and I think there's not, and I think I might have told you this, Tex. I don't know if I told the girls this. Back in when I was a kid again, a little younger though, 8, 9, maybe 7 to 9, something like that. I was still in grade school for sure. In the state of Michigan, we have one of the counties was called Oakland County, and we had the
Hmm.
Oakland County child murderer, right? Who's never been caught, supposedly. There is a guy locked up, but it might not be him. So that's besides the
Hmm.
point. But so he drove a Gremlin, like a 1972 Gremlin. Remember those ugly Gremlins, if you guys
Yeah.
remember. And he
Yeah.
also drove a beat up, I mean, allegedly, right? This is from the reports
Yeah.
and stuff like that. A Gremlin and like a beat up pickup truck, Ford pickup. But very distinguishing about this pickup truck was the cap on the back, the back was a cap, and it was covered with like birds, like pictures of geese, ducks, whatever, fowl, whatever. So allegedly he was driving around in this. Now I live in Wayne County. And I had been through Oakland County, and this guy pointed out these ditches where some of these young kids were found, right? And of course,
Hmm.
it's creepy to tell a 10-year-old, 7-year-old, oh my God, great, thanks.
Right.
So we started looking into this as kids. And so I'm walking to school because there was a grade school by me. We're going up to the school to play baseball or something. And this truck came down with that cap with all the birds on it. And I don't really think
Hmm.
nothing of it, right? And then it stopped at the corner. And this guy looks at me and he grins, really nasty grin. He had, like, I remember distinctly, big old buck teeth were all messy. And then all of a sudden, his smile just turns to like a mean face, and he opens up the truck door, jumps out, and this kid I was with, Nicky Lehman, I even remember the kid's name. He gets out with his big old like burlap sack and started
Hmm.
chasing us for about 4 or 5 feet. And me and my friend Nicky and I was on my street, and my dad was out cutting the grass, and I run motoring. We're just booking down the street. And I was yelling, Dad, Dad, Dad. And my dad looks up, and then we kind of look over our shoulder. Well, this guy's now already proceeding back to the truck, and my dad's running over. What's going on? I said, this guy was just chasing us with some big old sack. I mean, I didn't say burlap bag that time. I didn't even know what the term was. Some big sack, some big bag,
Mhm.
And my dad's like, and then he's seen it kind of speed up, and he noticed the truck, which he was, as a parent, of course, he knew all about this in our state. He called the police, made a police report, stuff like that. Well, he said it probably wasn't him. He's in Oakland County, but you know what? I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're, and I think a lot of these, what Texas is about to start on, I don't know that they stay in the same areas. I mean, so they didn't think,
Mhm.
no, he's mostly Oakland County, but who's to say he wasn't in Wayne County? And who's to say that I didn't run into this clown? I don't know for a fact. It just scared the heck out of me, but it was during that time period.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of times they'll hunt and it is a hunt. I mean, you know, they troll is what they call it for victims. Most of the time, it's in their own backyard. But I mean, you look at people like Ted Bundy. He was all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Green River Killer, Ridgway. He kind of kept things to where in his own backyard now, but that's not that's not really. They used to think that they stayed in the single area, but they really don't.
Mm-hmm.
They go wherever it's a target rich environment and wherever they feel comfortable. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I talked. I didn't talk to. I heard a an interview with a serial killer one time, and I think he was the original. If I'm not mistaken, it's a long time ago. I think he was the original, what they called the interstate killer. There's been several killers called the interstate killer.
Yeah.
But he was a truck driver, and when they interviewed him, he said that there was a ring of them. I think 5 or 7 of them, and one of them was actually a woman. And they had a code that they used over the CB radio that they would actually meet and swap victims.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sick. Man.
And a lot of times that's what you've got going. A lot of times that's what you've got going on with the whole trafficking, phenomenon that we've got going on. And these people will pay. The movie's Hostel.
Yeah.
They're closer to truth than you want to believe.
Yeah.
That's where you get into the Epstein Island thing and all this kind of stuff really kind of ties in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they're outlets. A lot of H.H. Holmes is known for being the first serial killer in the United States, but he really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Jack the Ripper. He's known for being the first serial killer. He's not the first serial killer. You look at Bethany.
Yeah.
She killed hundreds of
yeah.
people.
Uh-huh.
And it's not. A lot of people have the misconception that it's a United States thing. It is not. There was a guy, I believe it was in Russia, and I can't remember what they called him, but he had, I think it was up to like, good grief, like 600 victims, and he collected their shoes, and they were mostly children. So
wow.
Now, would you say like, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if there's a study done on this, but serial killers, do they more or less troll for their victims, or is it random?
Well, that's just it. Some of them, it depends. Some of them, you have organized and you have disorganized.
Okay.
And BTK, very organized. He picked his victims meticulously, and planned it, down to the, nitty gritty. I mean, he really did. But and a lot of them, and that's right, Monster Radio. A lot of them tend to stay in their lane. They have a certain type of victim: blondes, brunettes, whatever, men, women, prostitutes,
Right.
Homosexuals, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even down to race. For a long time, that it was the school of thought that if you had a white seal, if you had a string of white victims, that it was a white serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really it just depends on their taste, as it were. And then you also have the I say the really bad ones, but the ones that really take it to the next level. You have the cannibalism involved.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's just
Ew.
yeah. Amy comments about I feel for the families who discover their father as a serial killer, and I know that I watched an interview with a BTK killer's daughter. So yeah, that was sad. I mean, she had no idea, and she too was a victim, just being born into it, and it was sad because people treated her like they did her father, like it was she had nothing to do with it, and I think it's awful how people treated her. So yeah. Yeah, it's there's a lot of bad.
I would think that a serial killer that did it in random, do you think they'd be more sloppy because it's just a spur of the moment thing? I mean, they're not planning this out. They're not really thinking about everything. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, let's just go get somebody.
Yeah.
Let's unalive somebody right now.
Well,
and then there you go.
Well, you have people like Son of Sam. Okay, his killings were random.
Yeah.
It was just killings of opportunity, basically what it was. Some say the Zodiac killer was the same way, but his killings may have been random, but he was very organized. He was never caught.
Yeah. Right.
So and this first episode, you're going to find out that one of the things we're going to talk about is Jack the Ripper. See, for years and years and years, he was thought to be a disorganized serial killer. But new evidence has come to light that shows he wasn't. So some of them can appear to be that way, but they're really not.
Yeah.
So, it can go a lot of different ways, because, and the thing about it is, and a lot of people mention this, psychopaths are, and we talked about them being in your everyday life. A lot of the big CEOs, the big corporate headhunters, a lot of those people, your politicians, are psychopaths. But there's that fork in the road in life where you can go. Some people go down, and they start killing people. Some people it's enough to get their jollies, just manipulating people and controlling people. So,
a lot of them get their jollies out of laying off people, firing people.
Yeah, exactly. It's as long as they can, be in control of things and push the big red button on people's lives. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But
And what Brandy was saying earlier, to your point, kind of what you said earlier, Tex, about being sloppy. Because I think most of us have watched a bunch of serial killer stuff. And a lot of things that I've watched, most of them that the documentaries I've seen is like Tex was saying, they know that their surrounding area where they live. I mean, they know where they live like the back of their hand. They know where all the places they could dump people. They know the times, the hours of when businesses open and close. And probably a lot of them probably do stake out a lot of their victims, right?
Yeah.
Some probably do it. Some might be random, but some might also, I think the real successful ones target their victims and probably study them for weeks, months, whatever. So when they know and they do what they got to do, it's in and out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you believe that like in today's age that they have to be more cunning and sneaky because of all the things are electronics, telephones, everybody's always on them, the CCTV, the street light video cameras. And
Absolutely.
do you think that we're actually making them smarter? They have to be smarter. I mean,
well, I'll give you an example. If you look back at the rash in the 80s, the rash of serial killers that were caught, okay, that is simply because technology, okay, and DNA evidence was in its infancy, but that still helped, even though it was very, very, not,
Yeah.
we didn't have it like we do now, but it was they could, at least they had the blood typing and stuff like that they could use. So
Right.
as technology advances, yeah, it's harder for them to get away with it as long. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the FBI, for a long time, said they described a serial killer as if somebody had 3 or more victims. They've reduced that to 2. Now there's a school of thought out there that just because somebody has 1 victim and they get caught doesn't mean they were not going to be a serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like you set little Johnny down on the couch and you just give him a bag of chips so you can only have 1.
Yeah.
You know,
Real
Right.
quick, Tex, I just want to remind everybody to put your questions in caps locks, and then at the second half of the show, we'll go back through and we'll answer them. So I'm
Or we'll
sorry.
try to.
Thank
We'll
you.
try to. I have just as many questions as everybody else.
Yeah, I know. I do
Right.
too. It's almost like one of those subjects where we all have questions. It's just like, wow,
Yeah,
we just
and see, this
spitballing
is a
it.
subject this is a subject that I've never gotten to really explore on
Yeah.
the channel. I did a little bit. I did 2 pieces. I did one on Albert Fish and I did one on Gary Ridgway, and those videos are on the channel. You can go watch them. But I will tell you this much: the information in them is it's not pleasant, but it's interesting. So and I tried to focus more on the mindset, not the crimes and the victims. Okay, so it's like Gary Ridgway was. He killed 49 people. And for a long time they didn't think serial killers or psychopaths could hold down a job, couldn't be in a substantial relationship. This guy was married and held down the same job for like 20 years. Gary Ridgway did, all the while killing all these prostitutes or runaways. And it's like BTK. We was talking about the technology and everything. The only reason BTK got caught because he was techno stupid, because he
What'd you
actually
say? You
techno
cut out.
stupid, techno stupid. Kind of like me.
It's a new word, Rob. It's a new word.
Yeah, I like it. It works. It works for me.
It's technical.
I just didn't hear it because the word evaporated. I don't know what to say.
Well, he knew what he was saying.
It's a technical term like doobly-doo. But
Doobly-doo, yes.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to axe that one out of the vocabulary.
So, but he actually contacted the police and asked them if there was any way that if he wrote something and sent them something in the computer, if they could track him. Well, they told him no, of course, and that's how they caught him.
Right.
So it's like the Hillside Strangler in California. They didn't catch him until just a couple of years ago, and the reason they caught him was DNA through like the 23andMe sites it popped in their database.
Yeah.
From like a cousin or an aunt from him. And that's how they caught him. Well, hell, he was like his 70s when they caught him. He was a cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff.
He's one of those killers. Of course, being a cop, he had that edge too. But he was one of these killers that when they turned the heat up in one place, he just moved to another.
Right.
So
Well, he knew.
Yeah, exactly.
He knew how they operated. He knew what they were looking for. He knew what they would find at a crime scene. He knew what to leave, what not to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, that just scares the tar out of me. I swear it does.
Yeah, Randy just corrected me. My term that I used was not PC, so it's
technologically challenged.
See, when I say technology, it's the same reason I say dino birds.
I can't even say it now. Y'all are killing me.
There you go.
51 minutes, Krista.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and we'll get ready to take a break here. And then when we come back, we'll answer some questions. And then earlier in the chat, people were talking about, like with devil worshipers too. So maybe we'll touch a little bit on that.
We'll go back to that.
So if I have a question, then do I have to type it in the chat? Because I'm sick of using my phone. I feel naked behind the computer because I have no access to anything.
We'll have to get that for you.
I've given you my password to come in on the blonde side. You're more than welcome to use it and come on in.
He feels bad because he doesn't have a blonde wig. He's upset about it.
You're more than welcome to use what I sent you and come in on the blonde side. So
I guess I got to figure that I'm technologically.
You want me to resend it to you?
I'm technologically inept myself. I don't even know if I could figure out how to do that.
Well, let's just take our 5 and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, we can figure it out later, but yeah. So I'll be typing my questions. I'll be typing my questions in caps.
All right. We'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Hang tight.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Yep. Thanks for sticking around with us. If you're just chiming in, we were supposed to have Tom Cardos on this evening. However, he had a pet emergency, so keep his dog in your prayers, please. So we are going to reschedule Tom too. So he hated that he couldn't be here. So anyway, Tex, who is this?
Uh-oh.
That's what my youngest daughter sent me for my birthday.
Oh,
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome. That's cool.
Oh
like
my gosh. I don't know if any of you were reading the chat during the break, but Rob,
No.
you've got a gift coming. I see it. I see it happening. And I was laughing because somebody had brought up a name of a show, and they were calling it Beards and Braids. Well, basically, you already have Beards and Braids. It's on Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Central. It's called Texas Front Porch.
Yes, beards and braids. There you go.
But I
Thank
thought of a
you.
new show. I thought of a new show.
Yes, you
Just sitting
did.
here. And it's called Beards, Braids, Blondes, and Bandanas.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Sounds
There
like that
you
sounds
go.
like a hit.
I want to give a shout out real quick
I
to
like that.
thumbs up for Texas new show. Thank you very much for
Well,
that.
thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Annella.
you. You're
Thank
such
you,
a
And Ella
sweetheart.
Rock. Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Nella,
Yes, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
she's a sweetheart.
she
Love
is.
her.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought, well, there you go. We just sit
Yeah.
I
around
like
and shoot the breeze.
Yeah. It's just a come
Yeah.
as you are type of show.
Exactly.
Right.
Whatever subject we start on, there it is.
Yeah. Because we'll come up with 20 of them during the
I
same
know.
show.
Yeah.
Well, me,
Well,
Tex,
Tex.
and Jason used to do a show. That's what we'd end up doing until he got
Yeah.
his stupid work hours
And I
switched.
love it. And the people in chat, they're just going right along with us. I love how they just, they're just like us. They just kind of like flow and go with it and go, hey, well, here we go. Let's talk
Right.
about this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Tex, tell us about what got you interested in doing the show with Danielle?
Really, it was. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and it's like all of y'all that have come on board. To me, it's all about chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and every one of y'all that are on the team or channel or part of the group. I don't know. I don't even know how to say that, because all of our shows, and I like to, it's like I tell y'all, it is y'all show. If you're doing it, it's y'all show, and there's none of us really that are, I hope not, that are, because we pretty much vote on everything,
Oh, yeah.
And everybody has the same amount of say, on top, because it's all for the better of the channel, and when we bring people on like yourselves, our purpose is to really promote y'all. Okay, that's what it's all about for us.
Right.
If y'all can use this as a springboard and go on and be successful, I've done what I've wanted to do. So we did the same thing with Jessica. She's very successful now. I mean, don't get me wrong, she was successful before, but if we had a little bitty part in that, that's awesome. And
Right.
she's doing her own thing, but she's still part of us.
Mhm.
So that's what we're looking for. Well, I had been brought on to the after hours show one time with Danielle and over on Spaced Out Radio. And it was just like instant, just bam. It was like, it's the same thing with me and Nicholas, it was like instant chemistry,
Right.
That's what's important to me.
Yeah.
And so I said, and of course, Brandy, we had Danielle on,
Yes.
talking about,
Yes.
her uncle. And it was not only chemistry with me, it was chemistry with you at just
Yes.
bam.
Yes. Well, I do remember saying on that show, well, Tex, you can talk now, because her and I were just talking, and Tex was just like, okay, where do I step in here? I can't. I had to allow him to do so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to allow him to do so.
On his own
you got
show.
to you allowed Tex to talk to Danielle.
Honestly,
Yeah.
after that show, I believe, Brandy, it was you. We were talking, or we were texting. Well, thank you, Amy. And we had, I can't remember who made the comment first. I want to say it was you, but had brought up the to go. We were like, man, it would be great if she could co-host a show, or something like that. And I think you said something about, even if you could get her on as a recurring guest or something like that.
Right.
That's really where it came from.
And honestly, she's blonde, so how can she not fit in?
Exactly.
Yes.
How?
That's becoming.
And I don't understand the whole thing with blondes. I explained that to y'all. I don't get it. But so yeah, that's where it came from. And in fact, I think it was Brandy. I think it was me and you. We were talking, and I said, man, we're talking about, it'd be awesome if I could co-host a show or something like that. And we were like, but she's doing her thing with Spaced Out Radio, and she's got other things going and all this kind of stuff. Oh, it's all. We didn't think it was even a remote possibility, to be honest with you. And I reached out to her and I said, hey, would you be interested in this? And she jumped all over it. She was all kinds of excited, and y'all thought, we had a group meeting the other day.
Yes,
we did.
How excited! She's like a little giddy schoolgirl about this.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's so enthusiastic. It's just like,
and it's contagious. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Her energy is so positive and so contagious that it is impossible to be in a bad mood when you're talking to that girl.
Yeah.
Literally impossible.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to have her on Blondes and Booze as a guest in the
because Chris and I were talking about that. We're like, we don't want to have her as a co-host because we really want to talk to her.
Yes.
It's kind of like, okay, we'll have her on as a guest first, and then we'll do everything else. But it's just like kind of like we really want to talk with her, because she's such an interesting person, and
She is.
her knowledge is just out of this world. Being a historian and the things that she knows, and especially going back to the Templars it's just like. She's like singing my song when she's talking, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you.
Well,
I'm hearing you.
And another thing about it is, she's so brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when most people talk about being brutally honest, you're thinking, oh, this is gonna cut a little bit,
Right.
But not with her. She has a way of talking to you that I think she could. I think she could walk you to the death chamber and have you smiling about it. I mean, it's just the way.
She'll have you feeling good and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, all right.
That's really high praise. Walking to a death chamber, you're feeling great about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, it's my time. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time to get that injection. Lethal.
I'm gonna start putting some questions up so we can get these questions and comments answered here. Monster Radio says, yeah, the psychology of devil worshippers is just plain off. Something definitely is wrong in their brain. What do you think? I mean, do you think they're like a serial killer type where they have that capability, or and do it for their higher power?
I believe something in the brain is not sparking the same way. I just something is just not clicking with them. It's like they have, from what I've read, that most of them have. They're not remorseful.
Yeah.
They're not remorseful about it.
That there is a difference between devil worshippers and Satanists. They are two different things.
Yes.
I would think with a devil worshiper, it's like a cult. Amy and Chat says about cults. I wouldn't call them serial killers in a sense. I think they have let's say they worship Satan. I mean, they're into that.
Right.
And they make sacrifices. But then again, they could be classified, right, Tex? Because these really, the ones that kill people, they certainly have to find somebody. And I would suspect it's more random than thought out, but I know nothing about the subject. But I guess they're a cult. They need their sacrifices. If that even goes on, I imagine it does. So
devil worshippers
do the
sacrifices, yes.
So I guess that would be a kind of a serial killer of a sort.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think too. I mean, they start out with animals, as do a lot of serial killers.
Well, let me put it this way, and here's my thoughts on it. I would be more apt to put that tag on the leaders of that group. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Not necessarily the followers, because if we're talking about any cult, okay, and when you start talking about cults, that's where you see your psychopaths in these things are the leaders of the cults, not necessarily the followers. They prey on people that are looking that are not accepted. They're wanting to be accepted so bad that they'll do just about anything, and that's where the brainwashing comes in and everything. When the abnormal behavior becomes normal because you're indoctrinated and you're saturated with that day after day after day, that becomes a normal behavior for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't really put that tag on the followers, but when you're talking about people like Jim Jones, David Koresh, they don't have to be devil worshippers.
Right.
Okay.
No. Like
in fact, these hardcore Christians, what they call themselves Christians, and I in no way, shape, and form are they Christians. They hide behind that to accomplish their goals. They have a
Yeah.
God complex.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the difference lies.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so too, Tex. I was about to say kind of what you're going to say. I think like a lot of these cults, the fellow cult leader, it doesn't have to be satanic. It could be anything, but
Yeah.
they have nefarious intentions. So you get a person. Typically, the leader would be probably a smart person, well versed, can
Yeah.
speak. He's a salesperson. You can automatically warm up to them. You automatically like them because they have that sparkling personality, and it's all a facade. And I think they collect a bunch of transient type people
Yep.
text like you're saying that have nobody in life. Again, they go from town to town, got nothing going on, and they're just looking for something. They're looking to be a part of a family or a group that they're not a
Mhm.
part of. So these people fall prey to these guys that have the tongue of the devil, right? They can talk you into anything.
Right.
You mean who in the hell in their right mind is going to kill themselves drinking the Kool-Aid or killing a person in a sacrifice? That's just look at Charlie Manson.
Yep.
Allegedly, he didn't kill anybody, but he
No, he didn't
got
kill anybody.
everybody to do the dirty work, right? Because
Yep.
for whatever reason, he was charismatic. He found these
Unfortunately, the guy named
nomads. He
Tex.
found these nomads in the deserts of California.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately, his right hand man was a guy named Tex. But
Yeah, yeah, right.
well, actually, so speaking of Charles Manson and Richard Dreyfuss's wife is actually she has agreed to come on our show, and
Oh,
she was
nice.
supposed to come on before, but she got COVID, and she's an older lady. However, this is kind of a bit of interesting information here. She right after the Manson murders, she moved into that house, and she's told me some crazy things about it, and she also, what was kind of weird, while she lived in that house, she did the Helter Skelter movie. She starred in
Oh,
that.
wow.
So yeah, that's just a tad bit of info of a upcoming
Yeah.
guest. We're just trying to get a date together again. She had COVID, so she was out.
Okay. Oh, and
you
since
know,
we're out, I was just
another
go ahead,
thing
Tex.
that we have to look at is when you start talking about people like the Jim Joneses of the world and the David
Oh,
Koreshes of the
yeah.
world, and it's and Rob made a very, very interesting statement. He said they're salesmen. See, that's another thing. That's another thing that we didn't talk about a while ago. You know,
Yeah.
people have psychopathic tendencies,
Mhm.
and a lot of your salesmen do because they don't care. Okay, let me. I'm going to tell y'all a story. So
Not that
back
we're
in the
talking bad
day,
about salesmen. Not that they're all like that.
Yeah, it's not all cars.
I'm
Hey,
using
listen,
this
I
as
used really quickly. I did sell used cars briefly, but it was always to the older folks because they were easy. But moving forward.
so back in the day when I was looking for a job, there was this water softener company, and they were hiring salesmen. And I thought, well, I like to talk to people. I could probably do that. So I went through their training. They bust me out to like freaking Lubbock or Abilene, I think somewhere. And what I went out with a salesman and was supposed to observe, and he was supposed to train me and all this kind of stuff. We went to this house, and it was an older couple out in the country. They were on a well, and me and them hit it off. I mean, just right off the bat. This guy, he gave me the creeps because he did not care. Nothing mattered except the dollar, plain and
Mhm.
simple. And I watched him go through his whole sales spiel with him and everything. And I'm sitting there going,
Sure.
the water test and all this kind of stuff. And so, see, you could really use better water and blah, blah, blah. It was a complete lie. They had some of the best water that I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and they're like, well, we can't really afford it and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. He goes, you know what? I like you folks. How many times you heard this from a car salesman? You know what? I really like you folks. Let me go call my manager and see if I can get a
Yeah.
special.
Oh
He
yeah.
walks outside. What's he do?
He goes to the back, smokes a cigarette,
Exactly.
doesn't talk
While
to
he's
anybody.
gone, I'm sitting here talking to these people, and I'm like, look, you don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's just trying to make a sale. I said, you can't blame him for that. It's his living.
Yeah.
I said, but if I'm totally honest with you folks, you don't need this, an expense you don't need, because you're there on a set income. I said, this is an expense that you don't need in your life. I said, when he comes back in, just tell him, thank you, but you're not interested, and don't, you know, and don't
Yeah.
let him push you into buying something you don't need.
Yeah.
And he comes back in. He sits down where's the kitchen table. He comes back in and he starts. Well, I talked to a manager, and I'm not going to make any money off of this sale, but I want to do this for you folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's
Also
the deal.
familiar.
And they're like, sir, we appreciate everything you're doing, but we were talking to this young man here, and he's telling us this and this, and we're just not interested. But thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
This guy was absolutely livid.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did nothing but scream and cuss me the whole ride back to the shop. Couldn't wait to get rid of me. You know how much money you just cost me? You just cost me $3,000. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to, bamboozle people
Right.
just to make a dollar. I have to sleep at night. I have to look myself in the mirror. I cannot do this, you know. And we got back, and I got fired, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
and I was never happier not to get a job, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
So you have those, not to the extent that we're talking, but you do
Yeah.
have those tendencies in certain salespeople that are really, really hardcore, you know.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
mid-level management and even upper management, I mean, you see that a lot too, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But there are people out there, because my wife is in upper management, and when it bothers her when she has to sit down with somebody and discipline somebody. When
Mm-hmm.
she comes home, it was this and this, and I just hated this, and it really bothered me, and blah blah blah. You know, those are the type of people that care about people.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know,
And Tex, I think this might be a little off topic because you were talking about the team we've put together, you've helped put together. We got a great team. I think one of the commonalities with all of us is we do care about people. We
yeah,
genuinely care about people and what happens to them when they have an
Mm-hmm.
encounter or an experience. And just like throughout my life, when I worked at Ford Motor Company for many years, I had a great job. But part of my job, midway through working there, I had to devise ways to cut jobs and fire people. I had to
hmm
be the guy handing you the pink slip on Christmas Eve. That was me. And I had a lot to do with that because I was studying how to do this. And after a while, you guys, I felt like the devil himself. I had to quit. Now, of course, my plan was to buy a bar and to go into business as a bar owner. So I finally was so relieved that I knew no longer was the messenger of doom, right? Every Christmas Eve, and knowing that I had something to do with it because if I did not come up with a plan, I would get fired. And quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I had a great paying job, but I paid to do the dirty work. And then years later, I get my bar. And we talked about this, Text. I got a guilt complex last 3-4 years before I sold it because I felt that I was doing a disservice
right.
because
Mm-hmm.
I was providing booze to alcoholics, people getting divorced, spending their last dime. And I started really feeling for these people like, what am I doing? Then I
Sure.
realized, hey, it's a business. It's a business. I'm here to make money. But I could not turn the other cheek because after a while, started getting that complex that I was screwing people over, literally their health,
Mm-hmm.
their families. And that's one of the main reasons why I sold. Not to mention, I worked 7 days a week from 10 in the morning till 3 in the morning. That was a big part of it. But the biggest part was from me effing people over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's now now we got this group, the girls, yourself, Jason, Randy behind the scenes, Bob behind the scenes, and stuff like that. When we had Jessica for a while, we're all the same type of people when it comes to that because we're all empathetic to people and we do care about other people. We
Mm-hmm.
care to hear their stories. You don't make fun of people.
Absolutely.
You know, we're sympathetic. We empathize. We've all had experiences. We all had encounters. So we've been there and we can offer the difference between a person going to sleep at night peacefully or having a nightmare. And that's what we provide. That's why the best thing about our team, and I don't care if we got 10,000 subscribers or a million, as long as we're doing something for everybody, then we did our job for the evening, for the show, or for the video we put out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been, and guys, something y'all are not aware of. I mean, we have conversations behind the scenes about what can we do different on the channel. And it's been, you know, it's been put out there a lot that
Mhm.
we need to go to pre-recorded stuff. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, are we going to do it? Yes, we're going to do it, but that's not what we're going to solely do because
Yeah.
I love these live shows.
Oh, yeah, I do
Absolutely.
too.
You know,
Yes.
one, they're so unpredictable. You never know where you're going to go. And
Yeah.
number two, you get to interact with the folks. You know,
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts of our shows is when we interact with the chat, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and because we got such, and Jason says it all the time, we got the greatest audience and he'll fight anybody that says different. Folks, that's a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand. I mean, because we'll see stuff in chat about somebody that's having the surgery, somebody that's sick or whatever, having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
It is not it, and I feel, and this is the part I hate because I feel like I'm, you know, patting myself on the back, and I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm just trying to get it out there. What kind of people that we believe we are? I mean, we believe wholeheartedly that we're decent people. We're trying to be, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we're trying to help folks,
Yeah.
and
I mean, honestly,
it's
there's, you know, for us, I mean, there's been several people in chat that have reached out and, you know,
yeah,
we've helped, you know, on the backside that, you know,
yeah.
nobody else knows
I've
about.
But, you
talked
know,
to.
I also want to say this too. There are some people in chat that I talk to almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
We got
just a couple words. Hey, how you doing? I hope your day's
Oh,
right.
great.
yeah.
Blah blah blah. I mean, that's the best thing ever. I think it's
And I
creating
feel so. And I'll tell you
relationships
what.
that are
I'm
healthy
gonna.
and
Yeah.
and they're great for you. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that's why I hate when we do pre-records. I really do. I miss the
Mhm.
chat. I miss
Yeah.
talking to everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate pre-records, but you know, we still want to make sure that we have some good content out there for everybody to
Right.
see when we can't be here, you know.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah.
and this show that we got coming up, you know, like I said, it's not going to take place of anything. You know, I
No.
haven't.
No.
We've done our damnedest not to replace anything with anything else that's not, you know, as good.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's going to be easier because on a pre-recorded show you have to do all the editing and then you have to release it, and it is much simpler to do a
Mm-hmm.
live show. Much simpler. You just get on here, you start talking, and then everything does its, you know, thing for itself.
Yeah.
But you know, the hardest thing you have to do is schedule people, and which I know Rob is great at, and but that's probably the hardest job, you know, and then making your, you know, your thumbnails and making sure everything is right,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you post everything. That's the hardest things to do, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I think what a lot of people don't realize is the time it takes away from us and our families,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you know, because here it is, my birthday, my wife's in there watching TV by herself,
Yeah.
you know. I'm
Happy
leaving tomorrow to go to
birthday.
San Antonio.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's so there is some sacrifice involved, you
Yeah,
know,
there's a lot
and
of
it's not just
sacrifice.
us; it's everybody that does these shows.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just us.
Yeah. No, our
But
families take a toll. I wholeheartedly agree. I've got kids, I've
but
got grandkids, and yeah.
you have to figure out for yourself if it's a trade.
Hmm.
Because I got to tell you, and I'm going to be flat out honest, folks. On a good month, we'll pull in a couple of $100.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, that's it. We don't. It's not like
Right.
we're getting rich doing this. You know?
Gosh, no.
Right.
Now, I wish that I could make a living doing this, but
Yeah.
I mean, flat out, we're just not big enough. You know,
No,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
That's why we're always asking y'all. Put us out there, put us out there, put us out there.
Hmm.
Because I would love to be able to retire and do this full time.
Yeah.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that's probably every YouTuber's goal. You know,
Yeah. And
Although,
but
and
it,
what's really cool too is like, the people that's out there in our chat, I've met several of them, and they're
oh
great
yeah,
mhm.
people, and
yep,
it just, yeah. And Gemini Moon, she came over to see Brandy and I up in Michigan. How cool was that? So, there's just some really good people out there in our
Well,
chat.
Tex,
I don't want to
where are
give
you
them
going to
up.
be? Tex, where are
Yeah.
you going to be this weekend? Thank
San
you,
Antonio.
Titan. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Thank
you.
you,
Titan.
Titan.
Thank you.
Man, I
Yes,
really
thank you
appreciate
very
y'all.
much,
This
Titan. Thank you
wow,
very much.
y'all, y'all are awesome. Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And I want y'all to understand something. I'm talking to everybody in chat, and everybody's going to listen to this afterwards, and y'all can tell me I'm full of it if you want to. But I'm going to tell you right now, you do not. I don't think you realize how much we really, really appreciate when y'all give this stuff to us, because we understand that it's not easy out there
No.
nowadays. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you give, you know, whatever you can
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you feel comfortable with, I don't even know how to put it.
You said it well already.
It's it
It's appreciated.
sincerely touches
Sincerely.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
for
know.
sure.
and if
Yeah.
you all don't know, you can tell that Tex is choked up. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. That's
And you
just
know
choked
what?
up. He
I
And it's
you know
can't
what
spit it out. He's choked up.
I do get emotional when I start talking about this stuff,
Yes.
even with
yeah.
y'all, even with y'all on air,
Mhm.
off air. I mean,
Yeah.
because I know how it is.
Mhm.
Living paycheck to paycheck, and it's just I don't really think that a lot of people understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it feels like I'm patting myself on the back and all of us on the back, and that's not my intention. And I'm sorry if it comes up that way. That's why I don't really like talking about this stuff, because
Yeah.
if I was sitting out there and I try to hear myself, I try to look from the outside in, and I'm like,
Yeah.
God, you sound like, shut up, quit talking about yourself. But
Yeah.
thank you, Pixie. I appreciate that. I try to
Yeah.
be. I really do.
Well, Tex, tell us where you're going to be this weekend. So if anybody's out and about, they can come see you.
Yeah, it's not in San Antonio. It's actually in a town called Cibolo, and
Mm-hmm.
Cibolo means bison,
Yep.
and it's the Monsters and Legends conference, and we've got a vendors table that we're going to have set up out there. So,
And
and
you were
again,
going to be with
that's
our buddies, with our buddies Brad and Barry Kling.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's some
Now
good. Yeah.
there
Telling
is
you.
a chance. They're making the call tomorrow. There is a chance they may have to cancel the vendors, all
Oh.
of them,
Ooh.
because the vendors are outside, and it's a possibility they've got storms coming, and it's going to be
Oh, no.
we had a
Yeah.
cold
Oh.
front blow in, so there's a good chance of rain, and it's going to be high in the 40s.
Yeah. In March and
So,
April, isn't that tornado season?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
March, April, May,
You used to go,
typically.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had some roll through today.
Wow.
Man, I slept good.
Yeah.
Had the window open, thunder and lightning, slept like a rock. But couldn't ask for a better birthday weather. I mean, to me, I love storms. I love storms.
Speaking of birthday weather, I'm going to give an encore presentation because I'm just touched Tex. For those who didn't hear, for those who don't know, it's Tex's birthday, and here's my rendition for Tex. Happy birthday, Big Texas. Yes, we know you've got some big features, but we know it's needed to help fight those creatures. Happy birthday, Texie.
Again, thank you.
Yay!
And I'm gonna. Somebody at work gave me this, and she's such a sweetheart, and
That's cool.
yeah. So, I mean, I can't believe how detailed this thing is. It's crazy, but I think it's really neat. So he'll say hi to you.
Yeah.
You have a friend for life right there.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, we still have a few questions we got to get answered.
Yeah, let's
yeah,
do this.
yeah.
We've gone off the rails.
Let's quit talking about us and
Off the rails. We're on the crazy train, as Ozzy would say.
Yeah. Next question, and Tex, don't answer this. Have you heard the theory that H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper, as he is on ship logs going to England at that time? So just an FYI, I know they're Jack the Ripper first episode they have coming out, and I believe from what Tex talked to us the other night that's something I think you're going to touch on, correct?
Yep.
Awesome.
So Uncle Bones 2, tune in to Tex's show on April 1st.
April 1st. Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah. So, wow. Really? You really put it in the chat? Tex,
Well, he told me I had to type it.
From Texas.
Again with the FBI says that any one time there are, and this is a conservative estimate, by the way, there's anywhere from 200 to 500 active serial killers across the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There is a bunch of them. There is a bunch of them. So next question, let's see. Titan 70 says, Brandy, Tex, Rob, Krista, your thoughts on whether these killers are MPT just as psychologically impaired, but could there be a negative spiritual influence as well? Absolutely. I feel like that. I feel like that's what Amityville was. My personal opinion, not saying that's what it was, not saying that he's innocent because he was influenced. However, I do believe he was influenced by a demonic type entity myself.
Yeah, there was definitely a demonic presence somewhere. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
And it's like they don't have to be necessarily possessed to kill. The oppression is just as bad.
Right.
And they could do it during that phase. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have, and I've talked about it before. I have a theory, and I call it acute possession. And these people that do these horrible acts, and then either don't have any idea what they did, or they say, "I just wasn't myself. Something else had control," that type of thing. And I think what a lot of that is. They may be, because you hear it all the time. Well, they were perfectly fine people. I don't understand. He was a sweet guy, or she was a sweet woman and great mom, and then she kills her kids, or he killed his family or whatever. And then you see interviews with them, and they're like they're destroyed. And I think that is these demons stepping in, getting the foothold in them, and then when the deed is done, they step back and they just laugh because they had their fun. Destroying people's lives. So, I do think that.
Yep, absolutely. I agree to that. And also the case of Arnie Johnson, another Ed and Lorraine Warren case, that he was possessed when he killed his landlord. He actually did many years in prison for it, and Ed and Lorraine Warren went to court on his behalf. So, yeah, it's crazy stuff. War Criminal 7 asks, to Krista and Brandy, did y'all ever investigate a location of a serial killing or investigated a serial killer home? I personally have not a serial killer. I've investigated places where killings took place, but it was a serial killer, per se. So
and I'm with Krista. I have never done that purposely.
yeah. Yeah.
That's just something that I don't want to even touch that.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Gemini Moon asks, do you think that some outside influences also have part in some of these serial killers? Absolutely. Just
Yeah.
as like, we were just talking about.
Yep.
Absolutely, I do.
I think
Or,
I think their upbringing has a lot to do with it. I
Oh
mhm.
think
yeah.
that thing that pardon me, that thing that is initially broken in them as far as the empathy goes and the compassion for people that they don't have that.
Yeah.
I think that is already there,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, um, outside influences, like she says, like the way you're brought up, or events that happen to you in life can
Yeah.
trigger them. So yeah.
I
Well,
got a
okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. I got a
I got
question
a quick
too.
I got a quick follow up on that, and you're talking about outside influences. Now, what do you guys think? Now, again, this is subject for debate and debate and debate. A lot of people have kids and stuff like that. What do
Mm-hmm.
you guys think? And I'm not just going to talk about social media. Social media is a demon in itself if used incorrectly. I think we all agree. Now,
Correct.
what about though with these kids that start relatively young and they allow their kids to play these the video game industry is booming and the graphics are so I mean they're fascinating, they're awesome. I wish I had it when I was a kid. But what about these games? All it is murder, killing. You've got the one car game where they pick up hookers and they pop, hey, I'm gonna pop the bitch in the head, which they literally say on this.
Right.
And you got young impressionable kids. Do you think that when they grow up, that could influence their behavior, or do you think that no, it's just a video game and they know better? Because I don't know. I think some of these kids are very, very impressionable.
Yeah, I
I
would
agree,
agree
Ray.
with you on that. I honestly, I have a 13-year-old and a almost 11-year-old, and I don't let them watch that kind of stuff or play those kind of games, and
Yeah.
and even a lot of YouTube. They have to log into their YouTubes under Blondes and Booze so I can keep track of what they're watching. Because a lot of this stuff is bad. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the main problem that you see with it's not just video games. I think a lot of the stuff that they watch on as far as the cartoons, and a lot of things that are beyond our control, like
Mhm.
what they're exposed to at school and
Yeah,
everything like that.
yeah,
Even the news.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
think it
I hate to
goes.
say it,
I
but
think
I
it
think
goes.
today's youth are soft. The parents are raising them soft, and
Well, I think the
the
problem is the parents are not raising them. They're
right,
counting on all these
right.
other outside influences to raise
well,
them.
I think some
And
are, but I think,
Mhm.
but to Chris's point too, I agree with you, Tex too. But I know a couple parents that, yeah, no, their parents, the kids run the house at 10.
right,
Mhm.
right, right.
Yeah, exactly, and
I
that's
think the main problem is that, um, and it's not just kids. People in
mhm,
general are desensitized to um, the worth of a human life
mhm.
because
Yeah,
I don't they may regret pulling the trigger afterwards because they didn't realize what it would be like. But
yeah,
I think it's easier for people to pull the trigger nowadays
yeah.
because I
Yeah,
mean we weren't. I mean, let's face it, we were not exposed to that level of it. I know
There's,
when I was
yeah,
when I was on when I was an EMT and a firefighter, um, there you have to become desensitized to some stuff.
hmm
That's why you develop a morbid sense of humor. It honestly it helps you deal with it. And some people, you know, we used to we used to we used to say that there's always that make or break call that you go on,
hmm
and when and it's different for everybody.
yeah,
Um, with me, it involved and I always hated going on calls that involved children. I hated it.
hmm
And my partner that I rode with a lot, he had a hard time dealing with elderly folks. You know, so it was we made a great team because of that. Because he could handle the pediatric cases, and I could handle the geriatric cases. And but that make or break call for me was a traffic accident between a car and a minivan and a dump truck and a trash truck, and there was a small child that was a fatality in that accident, and that took me a long time to get over, but there is that call for everybody that is a first responder or anything like that. You're either I can't do this no more, or you're gonna stick with it and you're gonna push through.
Yeah.
But anyway, what were we initially talking about? Randy, you had a question. What was your?
We've been answering the questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Rob hit on what I was going to talk about. I mean, because we're talking about video games and things like that, and kids today, and how it's all this. But to flip that coin, when we were young, we had Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
We had all the same things. But I don't know about this Gen X generation we're from, but I'll tell you what, we lived a different life.
Randy, I was gonna say something too. The Mortal Kombat, and another thing too. I remember when we were growing up. You remember the Three Stooges?
Yes.
You know how Larry, Moe, and Curly, and then in some of the episodes, Moe was always bashing the guys. The favorite one was he'd take both their heads and boink them together.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous. Now we're kids, we see this. So I remember at a birthday party that I had as a kid, this one kid did that to two kids, right? Now the difference is the parent at the party seen this kid do that and beat his behind because that was something you don't do.
Yeah.
Today, I'm at somebody's house with a parent, kids. It's not the Three Stooges, it's some cartoon, and they do a similar activity, and the parents are laughing, but the kid could have been seriously hurt. That's the big difference between when we were kids versus kids of today, I think.
Exactly.
And I don't turn this into a parenting thing, but it just bugs me, drives me nuts because I see it all the time.
Yeah, and I don't mean to get on like the way people are raising their children. However, I have real issues when maybe some of you have or have not heard of it, but do you know there are some schools that are putting litter boxes in because kids don't know if they're a human being or a cat?
Oh my God.
I told my kids that would be the end of it if they used the litter box.
Well, that's what called kid an alien.
I think with
world, seriously.
With all of my children, they know who God is. And I have had the come to Jesus meeting with all of them. And so I don't know if they fear me or God. I think they'd rather deal with God than me. So, either way, that they're on the path where they know how to speak, they know how to act. And if I correct them in public, it only takes me one time.
Yeah.
And Brandy, I think you touched on probably the most important issue right there. There's definitely a lack of people that raise their children to know God. And I think that's probably the biggest issue these days.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times got to get you for that.
Right.
But it's I think there's a lot of negative influences, and it's so hard. I have a 4-year-old grandson, and I feel sorry for him growing up in today's world because it's so confusing.
Yeah.
And children are so much aware of other things that we were at such a much younger age than we were exposed to stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And you-
so do you think that serial killers that they, most were missing something in their childhood,
Oh yeah,
or
most definitely.
they've had like a childhood trauma where it could be, all the words that we're not going to mention, all the abuse. It is intriguing to dive deep into that subject,
Well,
because you don't know. I mean, are
well,
they
and
born this way? Are they born without that one spark plug not triggering? Is it not sparking correctly, or is it something that they use as a defense mechanism later on in life because of a trauma?
well,
yeah.
and I think you hit on a very good point, and we mentioned it earlier actually that you know I think that there may be something they're wired differently to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
but then their upbringing, what they're exposed to, um, abuse or whatever will trigger that,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll go a different route. They'll go down, like I said earlier, there's a fork in the road, and you either you go the serial killer route or you go
You
the
got to know
the
right from wrong.
the
Exactly.
heartless CEO
And
route.
and and do they? And do they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
so
that's why I can't wait for your show, because each serial killer is different in their way of
right,
thinking, and how
right.
they operated. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for your new show coming up. I honestly am.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. I am too. I mean,
I am
I've been
too.
wanting to do it for a long time, and
Yeah.
like I said, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with cryptids. It has nothing to do with paranormal. Nothing.
Yeah, it's
This
great.
is totally different from what we've done.
So this leads me to my next question. Because of this generation that is coming up, and we see that these things are going on, and we would give our children a butt whooping back in the day, and we received our butt whoopings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is going to develop a more aggressive, more harsh society, where as these children grow, that they're not going to know right from wrong? Are we going to create more serial killers that have no fear of prison? Because a lot of states have taken the death penalty off the table. So they'll just spend their life in prison. They'll get to, have friends, and eat, and have a dry, nice place to, well, I wouldn't say nice, but, a dry bed to sleep in every night. Do you think that we're going to create more?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's. I'll put it this way. I don't know if we're going to create more of that, but I think that kids are growing up with no repercussions of their actions. They're not held accountable.
Right.
And that being said, that leads them down because they think they can do whatever they want,
Right.
And when they do that one thing, they go out and they drive drunk, they hurt somebody, they hurt themselves, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no like I said, there's no record, there's no
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no accountability.
There's no
Right,
repercussions, because they're
right,
they're they're
um,
they're not scared of it. They're
right,
not, they think going to jail or prison is cool.
right.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like, oh well,
then,
I'm doing another
but
10 years. I'll.
but once they
What?
get there, but see, a lot of them, I think, once they talk a great game, but once they get there, they find out it's not so cool. So I think that's where we're going to see the problem is you're going to see a lot more kids getting. And well, I say that I don't know. I mean, because the way the system is now, there's so much more. Oh, just slap them on the wrist.
Right.
Even as adults. So yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah.
We could see people, and I think we already are seeing people that do things, and hey Zach, how you doing, buddy? Golly, I hadn't seen him in a long time. I'm doing something with Zach in September, by the way. Rooted Expeditions. That's Zach. I asked he's my little brother. Um, and he says, "Hey, Rick from Pawn Stars."
Yeah.
Now you talk about somebody. I'll tell you this. Aside from Jason, Zach has probably the strongest faith I've ever seen in the Lord. Which, if you take him on a paranormal investigation, is not such a good thing because, man, these things run from him like scalded apes, man.
It'd be a very boring evening.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
He's like he steps out of the car, and everything's like, I don't want nothing part of him. But I've had the pleasure of being out in the. He actually went to Brown Springs with us, and that's how I know this, by the way. But I'm doing something with him. There's a Zach. I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of the actual conference that you're having, but it is a UrbexCon, and it's Urban Explorers. That's what he does.
Nice.
And there it is.
UrbexCon, right?
Can you put that up there? UrbexCon 2023. Yeah. I believe it's in September, and he has asked me to come speak.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Now, where is it going to be located? What state?
It's going to be down here in Texas. I believe it's in Fort Worth. I believe it's been held in Fort Worth. Cool. So, we will keep you all updated. Hey, Zach, be sure and not just post it here, but post it on all of our Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff, and so we can get it out there.
Absolutely.
Well, we're reaching up to the 2-hour mark, so
we'll have
it's almost time to call it a night tonight.
Wait a minute, Brandy. I got a couple questions that we need to get answered.
Hey, that's okay. Go ahead.
So, Be Kind asked real quick. Tex was looking to see if Tex has a PayPal link so all of our money can go to them without, taking a cut.
Taking a cut.
We do have a PayPal. It's in the doobly-doo, and it's in the description. But I will tell you this.
It's in when his show is on, you'll see the PayPal, not on ours, but you'll see his PayPal account on his show.
But I will say this. Going through YouTube helps the channel. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, because we have recently found this out. So, we're at this, we're more than happy to, give YouTube their cut because this is their platform, and that does help the algorithm recognize our show. So, but the PayPal, you can look in the description of any of the other past shows. Like I said, it's not in the Blondes and Booze, but any of the other shows, the link is down at the bottom in the description on all of our contacts. Mm-hmm. So, yes, but thank you so much for asking that. That's awful sweet of you.
Yep. And then Paranormal Pixie asks, will the ladies be going to the Spaced Out Radio Vegas fan trip? Unfortunately, we will not. We have other obligations before that one became available to us. So,
and then plus we did look into it, but the prices are outrageous.
Yeah,
outrageous.
There's a good reason for that. There's a good reason for that. Mm-hmm. There's a huge concert, a EDM concert, that hasn't been held for years there because of things that happened over the past couple of years, right. And it's coming back, and they set it right down on top of Dave's party. Yeah, and and there's another thing going on, and the price is just wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like all the money that I save for our family vacation would have to, shoot to Vegas for 3 days, when I can go with my family for a week. So we had to say no, but would I have loved to have gone? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He'll be doing it every year anyway. He's going to make it a yearly thing. So.
Yeah, he's actually talking about. I think
he's planning part 3 already, or year 3.
He's already planning for the next one.
Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, we will be. However, we will be going to Texas though. We're going to do the Dogman conference, so that'll be fun. So we will be in Texas neck of the woods. Put it that way.
And we are going to try to schedule enough time for y'all to take a trip to Brown Springs with us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That will be
Um,
awesome.
That Urbex Con 23 is September 30th. It's in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
So,
And then Titan 70 says, but y'all will be at Josh Turner's Shindig. That is the Dogman conference that we were
yes.
talking about. Yes.
Yes.
It is
Yeah, we'll be there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was asked by Josh to speak at that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and
So we
again,
will
that
all
is
be
going to be
there.
in Fort Worth, Texas. So,
Yep, we will definitely be at that one. So yeah, I think that's it. Nope, one more question, and this goes back to when we were talking about the Gugway. I do believe it says at BMR, have you or Tex heard that a Genosqua might have been encountered in Ohio? That's very unusual. I wonder if they are migrating now.
Yeah, I responded back. I hadn't heard of it, but I
Okay,
definitely would like to check into that. Yeah.
Yeah, he responded through chat.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's what happens when we're talking and
I'm trying to
reading.
talk and read, and yeah.
Well, that's like with me and chewing gum and walking. Sometimes it just don't work.
there you
And then I think I
Sounds
got
easy,
them
but
all.
it isn't.
Yeah. And I apologized if I missed anyone's question. It sure wasn't my intention. I've been trying to keep up on them and star them and throw them back there. So anyway.
Yeah, well, everybody understands that, when you got a show planned and you have a guest, and well, when that falls through, it just kind of, you just fly by the seat of your pants, and that's what happens.
Yep.
And they end up being some of the best shows anyways.
Yeah. And tonight was good. It was just nice to sit around and talk.
It was a
Yeah.
nice show. I liked it.
I want to say one thing. Most of you know her, CD Squatcher. You see her in chat, and she's been out in the field with us a few times. And she's having some surgical stuff done on tomorrow. So keep her in y'all's prayers. And Pat, I am so glad to see you here.
Yes, Pat.
Yes,
yeah.
Pat.
That is awesome.
Absolutely.
Prayers work, guys. Prayers work.
Yes, they do. They do. And once again, Tom Cardos' dog send out some prayers and positive vibes for his puppy.
Those pets are part of the family.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. And this has been fun, even though our guest canceled, this has been good.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, and we appreciate
it was
you
a fast 2 hours.
Yeah, we appreciate both of you guys more than you guys will know, for sure. Yeah. So anyway, until tomorrow night, you can catch us again at 8 p.m. Central with we have Al Santagaria coming on.
Santariga. El Santariga.
Yeah.
Santagaria. There we go. I'll get it right one of these days. I'll never get it right. Never.
And once
call him Big Al.
I'm going to be in San Antonio tomorrow night. I may accidentally pop in and say hi to for y'all.
Well, then come on in. We appreciate you every time you come in anyway. So.
Yep, you should. You should. So thank you, everybody, and good night, and have a good weekend. We'll see you next.
Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for all the